And we are back with episode 2 of the wrestling. The hell was that?
It's the anonymous Raw general manager.
That, I guess that...
Can I have everyone's attention, please?
No. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he is back. He is back.
That idea needs to go bye-bye ASAP. I don't think I'm ready for another round of the anonymous Raw general manager.
I'm not either, but I wouldn't mind it for 3 weeks. At the most, 3 weeks before somebody awesome
comes back,
becomes general manager.
So, what are you saying? Like a Brad Maddox, maybe?
No. Well, I don't know why people are so high on Brad Maddox. I don't know what he did when he was. What was he in NXT?
He was in NXT. He was at FCW for a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that dude is creepy. Dude is, and I'm not saying small guys can't succeed, but like to give him a small guy like that much power, no, get the hell out of here. I would love to see CM Punk come back as a general manager.
We'll get to the CM Punk a little bit later.
Well, no, I'm just saying who I would like to see as a general manager.
I mean, I would love to see him, but when you listen to that podcast he did with Colt Cabana, I don't think he's ever coming back, buddy. I know you didn't.
Well, I mean, no. That doesn't matter. I mean, we're always going to speculate. Hell, we speculate with Austin, Rock, Hogan. We speculate with everybody, so it doesn't matter if Punk's dead.
We're going to want him to come back.
We're going to speculate.
Should we mention he who shall not be named in WWE ever again?
You mean Chris Benoit?
Yeah. Should we mention it?
I hear he's making a comeback at this year's WrestleMania.
Man, how a company can just. They wiped him out from history, man.
I don't blame him for doing it. But like, what if tomorrow Shawn Michaels, Sting, and Hulk Hogan all did the same thing?
Oh, God, there goes the WWE history.
There goes the WWE Network.
Yeah. Oh, man. That is true. Because, I mean, how many... Michaels is in, what, every single one of the best matches, just about? Didn't him and Taker have, what was it, like... No,
WrestleMania 25 and 26.
25, 26. And then the WrestleMania before that, wasn't Michaels in like one of the best matches as well?
With Ric Flair?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, it was like 4 or 5 years in a row where Michaels was in Match of the Year.
Yeah, it was against Jericho in 2003. 2004 with Triple Threat. 2005 with Kurt Angle.
I mean,
and this surprised me. 2006 with Vince McMahon.
Oh, that was a hell of a match. The elbow drop from the top of the ladder through a table while he had a trash can on top of his head.
Yeah, and I'll admit, 2006 was a really bad year for WWE, but I mean that was also the year that they had the second Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah,
that was also the year that they had
I guess in a way a restructuring.
Cena versus Triple H.
Kind of like a restructuring, I guess, of how they did stuff a little bit. I mean, 2006, I think was when that was when ECW coming back too, right?
Yeah, I think it was the second year that they did the one night stand.
Yeah.
It was Edge won the title with the Money in the Bank, and then he won it the second time. He was with Lita. Mm-hmm. The only thing I don't like about Edge's character, I love him as a heel. He's amazing. But the constant cheating.
Oh, it was like week after week after. I mean, it was just bad.
SummerSlam 2006 was horrible for the simple fact that the 2 main events ended with the valets of the heels interfering. Charmel ran into the ring, hit Batista. Lita ran into the ring and hit Cena. I'm like, why did I just spend $50
to see the same
2
thing?
disqualifications?
Exactly. But I guess so we have the anonymous Raw general manager back.
Right.
I'm not for that. I would have gone like yesterday.
I'm for it for 2 to 3 weeks tops before they bring someone awesome out.
Okay, who do you think they can bring back though?
I mean, they can bring back anybody. I mean, I honestly don't know why WWE always wants to get hype about bringing somebody back. Why don't they just bring them back
and see what happens?
Yeah, like what if they say, like, I want Vince McMahon to come out and say, all right, the Authority's no longer in power. We have a new Raw general manager. He'll come in next week. Mm-hmm. Or at least say something like, we have a couple candidates. We'll narrow it down next week and we'll introduce a new general manager.
I would actually like to see Ric Flair.
Ric Flair got Jim Ross fired. I mean,
true.
I need somebody that's going to remain professional.
What about like an Eric
all
Bischoff
times.
then? Maybe bring him back, maybe, or you think?
I love the Bischoff character, but he's a heel at all times, and I love Teddy Long, and I know that he was a face most of the time. I'm not saying I necessarily want to face all the time, but I also don't want to heel all the time.
Gotcha. They use NXT as the proving ground, so to say. William Regal's the current general manager for NXT.
Been there, done that.
Been there. Well, he was the commissioner at the time, right?
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
True.
Whether it's the commissioner, the general manager,
Okay.
or
What about the sheriff, Austin? Bring him back.
that would be amazing. Although I don't think.
I don't think he lasts long. Is my problem.
I think he would last long. I
think?
mean, Austin. This is Austin.
True.
He can work with anybody, everybody. I just don't think it would look right. You know.
The anti-authority guy being in authority now.
Well, it's not just that. It's just the fact that who is really there to give him a challenge? You know, because back in the day, when he was sheriff in 2003, everyone that was still around was people that he feuded with The Rock, with Triple H, Kane. I believe Undertaker was there as well, and the one that was awesome was when Goldberg finally came in town.
Oh man,
anytime you saw them in the ring. Oh, and Shawn Michaels too.
Yeah.
Some people forget that Shawn Michaels and Austin had an amazing rivalry years before that.
The only thing it's kind of odd that Vince McMahon specifically stated that the only person that could bring back the authority is John Cena. Now, do you think maybe they have some? Maybe this is a change in WWE where they actually have something planned down the line ahead of, like, maybe build up to WrestleMania, maybe like right around Royal Rumble, going into Elimination Chamber stuff, where John Cena's put in a position where he has to bring back Stephanie McMahon and Triple H.
Well, yeah, I was thinking that the other day. I was thinking it would be awesome in real life, and it would kind of suck on screen if the inmates start to run the asylum, and the only people that can bring authority
will be
is
the authority.
But of course, they would cut a deal. You do this for us, we'll do this for you.
Well, look at it from this. We haven't seen Brock Lesnar on TV for a while. Maybe they have something in the plans where Lesnar's the one that's causing all the chaos, and to bring order to the chaos, they got to bring back the authority.
Well, I mean, the authority sure didn't make a great case for themselves last Monday on Raw.
True.
When they were leaving the ring.
True.
So bringing them back, I'm all for. Of course, I would like to see them go after different people, not the same people all the time. And I really would hate to see the inmates running the asylum and then John Cena having to bring the authority back. I think that's kind of been played out to an extent.
I mean, I kind of like the fact that they don't have a general manager. I would prefer it to have stayed that way, except to bring in with the anonymous Raw general manager type thing.
To me, it's kind of like not having commentators. If you don't have an authority figure there,
true.
Even though it's a made up position,
true.
It's still like when you read a book and then you see the index in the beginning. You know what you're going to get. You know what's happening.
Can't have an idea, right?
What's that?
You can't have an idea of what to expect.
Right. Especially because a lot of things that people complain about is really what
makes it good.
Yeah, right, because some people say, why do they give John Cena so much airtime? Well, if they didn't give him even that one little segment, you would completely lose out on everything that's going on in that feud.
Exactly.
If I'll
agree with you there. I mean, Cena. I'll give Cena this. His promos are probably some of the best in WWE. I mean, from the standpoint of not just comedic relief when you need somebody to do comedic relief, but to give you that feel that this is like, for example, when they're building up the Survivor Series match, it gave you that feel of it's a big fight. It had that big fight, big implication type feel to it. It wasn't just okay, I don't like you, you don't like me, type of thing,
Right.
He gave the emotion that, man, if his team loses, that's it. They're all screwed. They're out of jobs. Man, you can see the emotion in his face. And most superstars, most wrestlers right now, they don't convey that they don't connect emotionally with the fans like Cena does.
They can't. They don't know how.
There's a handful that can right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
look at Ziggler.
Ziggler, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose. I mean, those three guys. God, I kid you not. Seeing Ambrose and Bray Wyatt just talk back and forth, I'm like, oh man.
It's like I said, like there are certain video games that honestly, if somebody charged me $50 for like 6 hours of cutscenes, I'd pay for it.
Oh yeah, that is true. I mean, that emotional connection that Cena brings, for me, it entertains me and it sucks me in a little bit more.
Right, you know? Because he can almost do the impossible. Like he can go out there. And I mean, if you've hated this guy from day one, and you find out he does so many like illegal things, and makes you hate him even more, he can come out, drop a promo, and get you back on his side, if at least for a couple minutes. I mean, if anybody can just change your mind like that, especially if you're like a Superman face.
Oh yeah,
like Cena. I mean, that's amazing.
That's one thing I liked about the Survivor Series match. Everyone was expecting Cena to be probably the last man surviving, last man standing.
And you remember I told you he wasn't going to be.
Yeah, you called it. You said he was not. You said he was going to be third person eliminated on his team. He was the third person eliminated on his team. That was a good call. And I mean, Cena didn't need the push. He didn't need to be the last man standing. He just needed to be there on that team to give the emotional aspect of it.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
He needed to be the guy, in a sense, a fall guy had they gone the other way.
Right. You know, to let them know that, I mean, Cena's there. He's Superman. He's the leader. He's facing the authority. But at the same time, even the mightiest dragons fall in battle, you know?
Exactly. And what I love by having Big Show knock him out, I mean, granted, Big Show was overdue for a turn, you know.
Seeing as how he turns every 6 months.
It's pretty much, you know. Having Big Show knock him out, leave the ring, and then there you see Ziggler crawling, scratching, trying to get back into the ring pretty much. They just pushed Ziggler back to possibly when he was the champion.
Like, I don't know what happened with Ziggler. Like, overnight, I fell in love with the dude. And when he won the title and he was a heel, I wasn't even mad at him. Like, I was so excited, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
because he brings something to the matches, dude. You heard Ziggler was in a match. You didn't care who it was against. You just heard Ziggler match. It's going to be good, and you were ready for it. The story. I mean, he's not as refined as like a CM Punk, a John Cena, a Bray Wyatt when he gives his promos, but it's enough to bring you into the story
because he's telling the truth. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but it bugs the crap out of him that he doesn't get pushed for his abilities. He gets held back for other things that he can't do. And it's not that he can't do it, it's just maybe his character is not there yet. Like exactly. Like CM Punk, when they made him a heel, all bets were off. I mean, everything just came out, you know?
Certain guys need time to develop. They need more airtime to develop. And I think putting Ziggler on the Team Cena gave him the screen time and the not just comic relief time, but the presence on a big show, on a big time, you know, big fight, big everything. You know, it gave him that appearance that he's ready to almost carry some load now. You know,
right?
And it's maybe WWE is planning for when Cena leaves. Maybe that's why they're focusing on like the Dean Ambrose, the Bray Wyatts, the Seth Rollins, the Dolph Zigglers. I'm pretty sure they can't wait for Roman Reigns to come back. Maybe even Daniel Bryan. I'm pretty sure that roster now. I wouldn't be surprised if they start moving away from the Cena angles as much, and you know, have him maybe drop a couple feuds here and there, and maybe focus more on developing the lower guys on the card a little bit. Just so that way they can plan for when, like, worst case scenario, Cena gets hurt and he has to go away for a while.
Right, and if you've noticed, some people don't notice it because Cena continues to win championships and win most of his feuds. But there have been some feuds where he hasn't gone over and he's elevated. Like Ziggler in 2012.
It took one promo with Ziggler and Cena, and that put Ziggler over right away.
I'll be honest with you. All Cena had to say, it was like, you come in here, you bust your butt, you're one of the best performers. You know, and that was real. You could tell it was real when he said that. And, of course, it was WWE when he said, "Oh, but you've been doing it for 7 years. You got nowhere." You can kind of tell a little bit that he kind of felt bad for him because it's like it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks that it's not that he doesn't have the it factor. It's just
he's been held back, and I'll use this as a transition then to go straight into probably what everyone's been talking about now for the past 2 days, possibly. CM Punk.
Who?
You know who? CM Punk. I mean, after, what is it? 10 months? 9 months of silence?
10 months, yeah.
10 months of silence. He finally came out and he laid it all out there. I mean,
And when you shared that on my Facebook page, I was a little hesitant to click on it because it's like every other day something new comes out.
Yeah. And trust me, when I saw it, I was like, this is probably some guy just talking about what he thinks happened, And then when you hear it's Colt Cabana, you're like, wait, can it really be CM Punk's on there? And at first it was like, okay, Colt Cabana's on there, and maybe Colt Cabana's just going to talk about it. Then he said, no, Punk's there with him, and it's like, we're finally going to hear about it. And
sorry to interrupt you, but that's kind of what I'm talking about earlier. Remember how I said I hate when WWE has to, take the time to build something up. It's like sometimes you don't have to build something up every single time.
You just got to do it.
Right. Well, like when The Rock came out.
Yeah.
Like when he came back, The Rock's coming back, The Rock's coming back, The Rock's coming back, and they waited till the end of the show and they made it such a big, huge fucking spectacle.
And it wasn't.
And it's like, I mean, it was a big thing.
It was good, but
it was The Rock. But
if he had just made a surprise appearance, it would have been like, whoa.
Just like when he came out with Rusev. Like nobody was expecting that. That was amazing. When he came out, I was
like, what is going on here? Right. I'm thinking Rusev Rock feud. I'll tune in for a little bit. Yeah. But I guess they're going back to the Jack Swagger Rusev rivalry.
I don't know why they went away from it to begin with, because I thought that was amazing to begin with.
Maybe they just want to do that whole, this is going to be a long time feud, USA versus Russia. Let's give them a little break in between, and let's get back to it now. Think about it. Now Jack Swagger actually has something to go after. The United States Championship. It gives Rusev something else to talk about, to talk more trash about, oh, Russia owns USA, the whole type of thing. And maybe now the person to beat Rusev is going to be Jack Swagger.
I still don't think he's going to beat him.
I can see
But I'm really going to enjoy the feud. I mean, because both their characters truly believe in Jack Swagger and US and
Jack Swagger is almost. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's at the level that Kurt Angle was, but he's almost like the modern day Kurt Angle.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say that he could be, but wow, my phone just died.
It's sitting on the charger.
I guess your charger doesn't work.
I guess not. I'm sorry about that.
That's cool. But yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, like when they made this huge spectacle for when The Rock came back, they hyped it up so much. Yeah, we were excited, but it was like, was all this really necessary? Like, did they really have to do that? Like when The Rock came out with Rusev, I was excited. I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So when I saw that it was CM Punk and Colt Cabana, they even said it themselves. Like, oh, people would have paid a fortune for this.
Dude,
but
I would have paid to listen to it. I mean, they did it for free on YouTube. I mean, we actually shared the link on our Facebook and our website.
Right.
But listening to that interview, I got CM Punk actually gave a better explanation as to the inner workings, I guess, of the politics that goes on in WWE, it's always been one of the things I've always hated about WWE, and I guess I could say about every pro wrestling company out there, is their inner politics.
And the thing is like, I can understand the politics to a certain extent. I mean, you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Exactly.
You shut up. It's like The Rock says, you shut your mouth and you know your role.
But when, I'll give you an example. Punk mentioned the sponsorships on like he had a sponsorship deal set up to where he'd wear shorts instead to wrestle with, and he would just have his sponsor's logo on it. And when he said he went to Vince McMahon and talked to Vince McMahon about it and everything, and Vince pretty much said no. I mean, I'm not quoting word for word here, but that's the gist of what happened. Punk said, "Hey, I got a sponsor. Can I have it on my wrestling gear?" Vince McMahon said no. And then, like Punk said, you fast forward a couple months, and there's Brock Lesnar with Jimmy John's all over his wrestling gear, and it kind of puts into perspective how WWE views some of their superstars. if you're the prototypical big guy that looks like you could be dominant beast type character, you pretty much get whatever you want. You know, you get, as Punk put it, you get the main events. Mm-hmm. But a tattooed up guy like Punk, who, I mean, he preaches that he's straight edge, right? Mm-hmm. And I believe him. He's straight edge. I mean, I'm pretty sure his friends and everything agrees with him. I'm 100% belief that he is straight edge. But a tatted up guy does not scream family friendly to them, I guess.
Well, I think it's not that they didn't want to give him what he wanted. It's just that they know that they can kind of get away with it a little bit with Punk.
Sure.
Not to say that they couldn't get away with it with Brock Lesnar, but it's like he was. I mean, CM Punk was already bringing in money. You know, it's not.
He was
like
outselling John Cena. Think about it. How many superstars in the past, I don't know, 10 years can say, "Oh, I outsold John Cena for 400 something days."
Well, if you say John, if you said the past 10 years, then I could name a couple. But I would say over the past few years, 6 years.
No one.
No one, yeah.
I mean, John
Punk
Cena
was the only one to be able to do it.
Exactly. Punk was the only one, while he was champion, while he was a face champion, was outselling John Cena. Now, what I never understood was, and this still kind of eats at me, was having The Rock come back and win the title from Punk just to have a rematch of that once-in-a-lifetime match. I would have much rather maybe see, okay, have Punk retain against The Rock, and then have maybe like a triple threat match at WrestleMania between the three of them.
Well, and I know that's what Punk mentioned in the podcast.
Exactly.
But the way he made it sound, it was just an idea. I mean,
I know he pitched it to him as an idea.
Right. To give them something different, because I think not only are the fans tired of the same old, I think,
look at the reaction the Orton versus Cena match got.
With the
Hell in a Cell. I mean,
it was a little bit better.
It was better than what we expected, but
the reception was still somewhat the same. I know I shouldn't say anything, or else I'll, have to shave my head bald and then be a jobber for a couple episodes.
Yeah, people are getting tired of seeing the same recycled stuff over and over and over again.
Now, granted, they did do a good job with that match.
Yeah.
That match, I would have to say, would be one of the best matches they've had in
a
years.
long time. Exactly. But when you look at the superstars that are getting the huge reactions from fans, that are getting fans like us talking.
You mean like Mizdow?
Like, exactly. It's like Mizdow. It's the guys that are doing something that hasn't really been done before. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you look back through WWE or wrestling history in general, you'll probably find a guy that all he does is mimic somebody else. I mean, in a sense, Mizdow is almost like a Eugene, but not exactly like Eugene, if you know what I'm saying. Where, all he does is just do moves that other superstars does. Except what Mizdow is doing is throughout the entire match, he is out there mimicking what's happening inside the ring. I mean,
yeah, see, that's something I never thought would work.
But that's the thing. If you've done it before and you saw it failed, why do you go back to it? Try something different.
Because it works with certain people, and you'll never know who it's going to work on unless you try it.
Okay, we'll use the Cena versus Orton feud. That feud happens almost once a year, every single year now.
Once a year?
Sometimes twice.
I've looked it up, and they've had over 20 matches with each other.
God.
Over the past 7 years?
And those are pay-per-view matches, so those are some feuds.
Right.
And
it's not a bad feud. It's just a lot of the matches that they had with each other were just so unspectacular.
Exactly. And what CM Punk was pretty much trying to say is, anytime someone brought up ideas that was different from what the politics, I guess, were used to, it pretty much, in a sense, got shut down unless you were John Cena and on occasion CM Punk. Maybe, if I remember correctly, when Taker was to lose the streak to Brock Lesnar, there was a little bit of friction between Vince McMahon and Taker at that time. Because Taker was under the impression that his streak was going to go on.
And that's the thing, like, remember how we were talking about sports earlier? We were talking about rumors, and we were talking about stats, how people only want to listen to what they want to listen to.
Exactly.
Well, when these rumors came out about Undertaker losing his streak, I heard Shawn Michaels said that 4 hours before the show, Vince McMahon said you're going to lose the streak.
Yeah.
I also heard that Undertaker was the one that wanted the streak to end.
See, I guess we're going to have to wait for Undertaker's podcast.
It really doesn't matter to me. I mean, we saw an entertaining match.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was a little bit disappointed. And I'm not taking anything away from the match. But if I remember correctly, most of Taker's matches, I'll sit there and I'll just be engrossed in it 100%. This match, there were some pretty slow points where it wasn't that entertaining to me.
Right. This is like a 46, 47
No,
year old
I
man
understand that.
going against a 36, 37-year-old beast.
And at the time, if you think about it, Lesnar was a little bit out of shape.
Oh my God, why do you keep going to that? That dude could beat anybody's ass on the roster, and you keep talking about out of shape.
Anyway.
Those Jimmy John sandwiches.
This probably is. Let's get back to the CM Punk podcast here. So, the part that stood out to me was towards the end of the podcast when he was talking about the couple months leading up to his exit, and when like you said, we're talking about rumors and stuff. When the first set of rumors came out when Punk left, they were saying, "Oh, Punk just walked to the office, said I quit and left."
That's what people wanted to believe.
And he finally came out, like in the podcast, and he said, no, he stood there, he talked to Vince McMahon. At first they thought it was just because he was concussed, so they didn't really want him. They were just saying, we'll talk to you again later type of thing. But he said, no, he's not. He's just leaving. He's quitting, more or less. All right? And he said how the main thing was he was burnt out, he was beat up and hurt. I mean, if you're super... And this is the way I see it. If you got a guy who, like I said, outsold John Cena in merchandise sales, which is almost impossible to do nowadays, all right? When you have a guy that
even though John Cena sucks.
I know, that's the funny thing. These fans want to chant John Cena sucks, yet they still go out and buy his merchandise. I mean, that just blows my mind a little bit. But anyway, when you have a guy...
The stats don't lie.
Who, quite possibly, I think, like he said, he was the best in the world, right? He's best, like he said, he's best on the mic, in the ring, what he does.
Even on commentary.
Right? He is the best guy you had in that locker room. When he comes to you and says, hey, I'm hurt, I'm beat up, I want some time off, I would be like, okay, we got to find a way to get this guy some time off so that way he doesn't get burnt out. Because...
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Punk really could have put his foot down. And I'm not blaming that on him, but at the same time... Think about how upset the fans would have been. A lot of us will say he should have taken care of himself, but that match at WrestleMania 29 with The Undertaker,
it was a hell of a match.
And if we would have got that time off, we wouldn't have seen it.
No, but what I'm saying is, when you listen throughout the entire thing, he was saying that every time he was supposed to be given time off, he
was owed one.
Exactly, he was owed one, and it's like. You could have given him time off earlier, prior to all these injuries and everything like that. You could have done that to prevent all these future injuries. But instead of taking that time that he's taken off, maybe a month or two that he's taken off to build up another guy, you chose to do the same routine that you had. I'm going to beat the horse till it's dead, pretty much. And you got to wonder. Punk was pretty much one of the first ones to say, "I'm done. I'm walking out." I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. I'm done. Maybe it's just a matter of time before we start seeing that with more guys that have the ability that Punk has. For all we know, maybe 2 years down the line, Bray Wyatt's like, I want some time off. They say no. They say, well, and then he goes, well, forget you guys. I'm gone. That's
what I'm afraid of, though.
I'm terrified of that because I'm gonna lose something that I'm passionate about. I enjoy watching WWE. I mean, people say that I'm not trying to knock these other promotions or anything like that, but they say there's TNA, Global Force Wrestling, which is going to be coming out next year, New Japan Pro Wrestling, ROH.
Nothing will ever compare to WWE.
They don't have the production stat. They don't have the production quality that WWE has. Yes, the guys can put on matches. Yes, some of those guys can have unbelievable matches and everything.
But what does the E stand for in WWE?
Entertainment. And the problem with the smaller companies like a TNA, well, TNA has completely different set of issues. But like ROH, my biggest gripe with ROH isn't the matches. The matches are phenomenal. my problem with ROH is those guys need some work on promos. You know, they don't. I don't get the same emotional connection I get when I watch WWE. You know, it's like, okay, fast forward. All right, I'm gonna watch the match now. With WWE, sometimes I might just fast forward through the match and just watch the promos that they do. You know, that's the difference between WWE and everybody else. WWE gives you the wrestling and the entertainment that you want. Everybody else just gives you the wrestling. They haven't reached the level of entertainment outside of the wrestling.
But you know what's funny, though? There's a lot of fans that'll sit there and tell you that they don't care about the entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
But where are these fans right now?
Exactly.
When WWE was struggling with the WWE Network.
Exactly.
They came out with an amazing deal, and they still couldn't get the subscribers that they wanted.
Exactly.
I mean, it's impossible. And I don't want to sit here and just say that the same old, it's impossible to make something happen. But let's be honest. The fans can be a bunch of bitches sometimes.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. I mean, we all have our likes and dislikes, but, for example, people complain about pay-per-view prices being too damn high, and they kept going up and going up and going up.
They pretty much
they dropped the hell out of the prices down to $9.99, and all anyone was complaining about is, the WWE Network's $9.99. It's like, you're paying for hours among thousands of hours of content.
And there's stuff still being added.
Exactly. And then, to top it off, you're getting every single pay-per-view for $10 a month.
And there was a little bit of a couple people upset about the fact that it was like a 6-month commitment. I'm like, it's not like they're taking $60 from me right then and there. And even if they did, that'd be less than it would cost for WrestleMania.
Exactly. So, I mean, we got a little sidetracked there, but stop complaining about something that's actually beneficial to you.
Right.
I'm going back to the Punk thing, though. Like you said, my fear is you're going to have your top talent who know they can go other places now. Because, I mean, like I said, Jeff Jarrett's bringing on Global Force Wrestling. Maybe that becomes Global Force Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Jarrett, you know.
You mean Los Double J?
Yeah, Los Double J. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that's a couple years down the line. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Maybe a couple years down the line, we see like a Daniel Bryan jumping ship. We see Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins, all these guys leaving because Jeff Jarrett probably knows what the fans want.
Well,
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying is once more options start popping up for fans for these wrestlers to go to, I'm pretty sure they're going to start taking it. I mean,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what I meant when I said that's what I'm afraid of, what I'm afraid of is that these top talents are going to think that they can run the show just like Punk did. Now, when Punk did it, it was special.
Yeah.
When Cena does it, it's because he knows he's the number one good guy, and he has creative control, right?
Yeah.
And what he's done has succeeded.
Correct.
Why not let him just take it over and
let him go with it?
You're right. But everybody else, let's be honest. I mean, I love Dean Ambrose, but if Dean Ambrose said, "No, this is what I want. This is what I want," I don't think I'm ready to see Dean Ambrose in a world title match.
I'm not saying that. The part that's scaring me is when these guys, for example, the reason why Kurt Angle left WWE and wouldn't re-sign with them is because of the work schedule. He wasn't getting the time off that he wanted, so he went somewhere else that was giving him when he needed time off. Mm-hmm. You know, if more companies pop up like that, like I said, Global Force Wrestling's coming up. TNA's got their new TV deal and everything. You know, I heard New Japan Pro Wrestling's going to start trying to find a U.S. base now. I mean, with more and more of these companies popping up, for all we know, maybe these guys when they get hurt and stuff, if they don't start seeing, treatment like, hey, my knee's banged up, I need some time off. If they're being told, sorry, you can't take time off, or as CM Punk put it, if you took time off, you were punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
If those guys start seeing that happen, they're probably going to start looking elsewhere. And soon, WWE might be in a spot where, the only top star they have is a 45-year-old John Cena.
Which I'm so sure could kick some ass.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, but what future are you going to have from him? Randy Orton again?
Well, I think there's always going to be a future in WWE because somebody's always going to want that spotlight. It's kind of like when you lose your number one scorer on the team. Well, guess what? You'll have a new number one scorer.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like right now, the WWE Championship hasn't even been talked about for a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But there's so many good things going on, so many good feuds, going on, that it's enjoyable to watch. The problem is, if more and more of your top guys, or guys that put on good matches and good feuds, start going away, you might only have one good feud going at a time, and that's it. That's what's scaring me a little bit is, talks of Daniel Bryan probably not even coming back till after WrestleMania. Okay, that's a huge loss right there already. We were talking about it when CM Punk left. The first thing that went through our mind was, okay, what if John Cena got hurt? Or what if Daniel Bryan got hurt? What then? And then what happens? A couple months down the line, Daniel Bryan gets hurt. And we were like, okay, what do you do now? You're going to have to push John Cena even more. I mean, you just went from trying to put the back burner on Cena now to focus on other people to having to go right back to him. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything like that, but that immediately stops the growth of other people that you may have.
Oh, definitely. I mean, look at Ziggler.
I mean, that
he's been trying to break that mold for the longest, and last year when he won the title, it finally happened. But then, of course,
he got injured,
he got concussed, and he took a little bit of a back burner.
I mean, I've heard speculation as to he was in the doghouse after he got hurt, and they just kind of saw him as a liability, so to say. And if you think about it, that's exactly what Punk was saying. If you get hurt and you don't go out there and you don't wrestle, you lose championships. You don't get pushed as much. You don't get all this stuff. And that's one of the political things that I think they got to work on.
Yeah, but things are only going to get more worse, especially when it comes to money being involved.
Yeah.
It's all about results. It's all about more money. It's all about matching what you had last year. It's like they do with the pay-per-views. I mean, if you had less sold this year than last year, it was a failure.
Didn't you hear what Punk said? When he was champion, his main event, his matches outsold Cena's. That's a telling sign where your money was, who is your bread and butter. But like I said, I don't think they saw CM Punk as a marketable commodity because of how he looked. He didn't have that bodybuilder type look that Vince McMahon is notorious for looking for. He didn't have that clean cut, perfect chisel jaw type thing that Vince McMahon was going for to appeal to the family oriented crowd.
Well, that I'm going to disagree with you on only because of the fact that ever since CM Punk dropped the pipe bomb, they have been pushing people a lot more. Like Daniel Bryan, of course. I mean, come on. Who would have ever expected him to be champion? Does he have the ability to do it? Of course, but...
And I'll agree with you there. But they also had a great story going with it. The ultimate underdog in Daniel Bryan rising up and being the one to win the championship.
Right. And then I would say, like, look at Ziggler. I know I keep bringing him up, but I really like Ziggler right now. Who would ever imagine that a guy named Dolph Ziggler would be in our minds, in our opinions, the way he is right now?
And especially if you know the background, coming from the Spirit Squad to be where he's at right now. I mean, that's just... That right there in itself is saying something. But, like I said, my biggest fear is going to come down to what's going to happen when superstars start pulling CM Punks and just walking out because they're not being treated right or compensated right as CM Punk was putting it.
Well,
what's going to happen?
They can go somewhere else and see if they can make 1/10.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, maybe they do exactly what CM Punk does and just up and quit and go test the waters in a completely different field that doesn't have anything to do with wrestling.
They could try that, but sometimes it's just not worth the money to not.
No, I'm not saying the smaller guy. I'm talking about the guys that are higher up, the guys that everyone buys their merchandise and stuff like that. Those guys, those are the guys that you got to worry about leaving. And as CM Punk was putting it, he wasn't being compensated like one of the top guys, even though, like you said, WrestleMania 29, him and Taker stole the show.
Oh, yeah.
But as he put it, he wasn't paid like the John Cena, The Rock, The Taker, Triple H, or Lesnar. Even though, according to CM Punk, Vince McMahon, they came to him after the match and said, that was the best match of the night. You should have been the main event.
Yeah.
You know,
And Punk already knew that.
To me, that's kind of like saying, man, you had a hell of a match. You should have been the main event and everything, but we're not going to pay you like you were in the main event. But we're going to pay everybody else, even though Triple H versus Lesnar wasn't the main event. We're going to pay them like they were the main event, but not you, even though your match should have been the main event.
Yeah. You keep saying main event a lot. I think you really like saying main event.
I know, that's going to be my word for the week, main event. But, on that note, I think we should just cut it there. You guys should definitely head to our website, ProWrestlingRundown.com, and check out that. Click on the link at the very top for CM Punk's podcast. It's a good listen. It's about 2 hours long. About hour and 58, hour 50 minutes long.
Yeah, I haven't finished listening to it, but I am 1 hour and 15 minutes into it, and it is so good that
I think I'm going to listen to it multiple times. If you ever just want to hear somebody just talk about their experiences in WWE, I mean, him talking about it was just.
Here's the thing. Anything Punk says is gold. I mean, he can go out there and sing the Meow Mix theme song. He can go out there and swear to God for 10 minutes go meow 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 meow.
It'll be golden. And I'm not the best. What I liked most about the interview was he could have gone out there and just say, F WWE, they suck, I hate them, blah 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 blah, all that stuff.
The truth.
He didn't do any of that. He actually came out and said, He actually likes Kane. He likes John Cena. There are a couple people he states that he doesn't like working with, but I mean, for the most part, his biggest problem with WWE, from what it came out, to me at least, what it seemed was just the politics as to how they ran the stuff, how they ran it,
and not just the politics, the fact that they put blind faith into writers who have never been in the ring before.
Exactly.
I don't even think they really watch the product. I mean, you ask somebody. You write a story with these people. You got this character that does this. You got this character that does that. And some of the writing, and I know. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know these people. They might know a little bit more than what I'm saying. But sometimes you look at the writing and you think to yourself, "WTF?"
What they thinking?
Right.
That make as that meme says, that make no sense.
That make no sense. Speaking of that, did you see the new meme I put up on the PWR page?
No, I did not. I gotta go check that out.
Yeah, I think you're gonna like it.
I'll definitely check that out. That's the other thing, guys. Like us on Facebook as well. The Pro Wrestling Rundown. We're working on the site still a little bit. The site is up though. We're gonna be working on getting more content up there for you guys. If you listen on the podcast on Spreaker, you can always jump over to our website and check out the podcasts on there. They're all there as well. Stay tuned for more. You guys have a good night, and definitely check out that CM Punk interview. It was great.
Yeah, and then that's the bottom line, because
we said so.